a snowy landscape before digitally, so we're just gonna experiment together. You can follow along, but if I post this video, it means I'm happy with the result, so you can also follow along. So let's begin. I'm starting off with a dark blue background, and I have this light color. Let's go with a light gray color, and I use the chalk brush for the illustration. Now, I would like to have pine trees going all the way. So I want them to be somewhere here. I hope you can see clearly. And we're just planning and making iPad sounds or writing sounds. Now, in the landscape, we will only have pine trees in the background. Let's do one more. One pine tree. Let's lower the opacity and the size as well. We will have one pine tree here in the middle. Another large one over here. Okay, this area is going to be covered in snow. We'll have a moon here. And I think that's it. What else should we do? Let's keep it simple, because one pine tree is gonna take a lot of time, and then we're just gonna be duplicating and merging basically. So let's just merge these two first. We're gonna lower the opacity, and let's start with the illustrations of pine trees is that they show everything going this way, which is a very simple way of painting if you want to communicate to someone that this is a pine tree. But the leaves also go forward, backward, through all directions, which is a little bit the tricky part, especially when you're also painting snow on top. Let's start with one side, and if I like it, I'm gonna duplicate it and mirror it instead of turning on the drawing assist, because then I can also add more. Beautiful. So first, we create a main line that connects to the tree trunk, and then we create little needles. Perfect, maybe. Just a little bit more, and then let's do one long one that kind of like goes downwards, and they kind of look a little bit like feathers. The other thing about pine trees is, even though it looks like it's one large branch, my camera turned off. So the thing about pine trees is this is what they look like from afar, but if we were close, we would see something like these are the needles up close of the pine tree. Okay, this is just an example. It has many of them in one branch, let's say, and then on that branch there is a bigger branch with more pine needles. And then on that one, there could be more. There could be little ones. On some, they could be like pine cones. Oh, that one looks better than this one. Okay, let's just erase it because we don't want. Yes, we don't want to drift away from the painting, and it's already gonna take us a long time, but let's just also create some little branches, not just a few long ones. Oh, that looks bad. just making sure that the we're still painting on the same layer. I wanted to ask you guys which is, if you're listening now, which is your favorite holiday? Mine is Christmas, not because of the holiday itself, but it's the only time that I take 2 weeks off from work and I visit my family, and I kind of like large family gatherings. And I always look forward to it. And yeah, it's Christmas, but mainly because I take time off from work and I see my family and my friends, and I honestly really miss them throughout the year. And I always look forward for Christmas, just to have some time off. And I've been quite stressed at work lately because I'm overworked with the projects I have, and I actually asked for help. And of course, at first I was afraid to ask, but I said I'm not performing as well because of all the projects I'm working on, and originally it wasn't a problem until some new terms and conditions came in, and I'm not allowed to say much, but my workload doubled because of those new conditions, and it was something we didn't anticipate. But yeah, everyone's been really supportive at work, and they were like, okay, if you can't do stuff, just don't do stuff until we bring in someone else, which makes me feel even guiltier. So yeah. We don't have long yet, just a few more lines, but because I have my headphones in, I really enjoy the sounds the pencil makes, so I'm not in a rush to finish it. Hopefully you're sleeping and you're not following along, otherwise you lose your patience. Oh, you know what it looks like? It looks a little bit like a palm tree. That's what it looks like. work on less detail here because I want to duplicate the layer and then flip it horizontally. Just checking to see if you can see everything. I'm not sure if these branches are gonna be touching the ground. I'll see and I'll decide later. Okay, now let's duplicate the layer. Flip it horizontally and just bring it here. And I'm just gonna connect the, yes, perfect. Okay, it looks like a tree now. That took us 20 minutes to paint, and then I'm just gonna, you know, I don't like this. Just looks a little bit weird, so maybe I can erase it a little bit from here. Okay, now let's merge these three and we're gonna create a new layer and start on some highlights. Now we're gonna go in with a lighter color like this one. No, maybe a bit darker, that's too light. Perfect. And let's start with the top. I want to make my brush a little bit thinner, okay? And let's just start with some highlights. We are shading both sides of the tree now, and then we will pick a lighter green color and we're gonna do one side. We just need to decide where the light source is going to be. It's actually starting to come to life. I like it. shadow. So we're gonna start with the lighter parts here. It looks a little bit pixelated, but you know, that's okay. only time I've painted snow before was with oil paints, and it was challenging, but I liked it eventually. So what we're doing now is adding little blobs of color. Just to make it come to life, and we'll do this over on this side as well. I know it seems like it's taking too long, but this is the only detail we're gonna work on. After that, everything, we're just gonna be duplicating this tree and placing it behind everything, basically. So it's quite easy. layers on top of each other if you're painting, you know, realistically. So I did not want the tree to be too abstract either. let's just group everything together, duplicate everything, and I want to flatten this one. And I'm gonna use the uniform tool, and I'm just gonna place it here where we agreed on. Now let's work on I don't need this one. Let's work on the sky. I want the sky to have a nice bright, almost a pink color like this one. And I'm gonna be using the airbrushing tool. Perfect. And let's just make it darker here, and then dark blue on top. Lastly, this one, okay. And I'm going to blur it out this much. Perfect. Now maybe just to make it fun, let's pick this color. Let's use where is it, calligraphy. Let's use this brush. Fill it in. Okay. That's a new layer, thank God. I want to duplicate it. The one in the background, we can blur it out. Just keep in mind, I have no idea what I'm doing, okay? So don't assume I do. And I will use the soft airbrush, and I'll just create little lines extending. It looks terrible. Let's just go back and keep it as it was. Okay. Now we want to take this layer, we want to duplicate it and make it dark first. Let's just make it dark now that we can see. We want to make it this dark, like we want to see the snow, but we don't really care about the snow. And let's place it here. Then let's duplicate it and let's place it. Let's do the uniform and make it thinner. Let's place it there and then duplicate. Let's place it right there. I don't want to merge these three, I think. this one on top of all the others, and I want to make it a little bit brighter. Okay, and I can probably move it here. Great. So now we are gonna go in the background. I will pick a color, a purplish color for the snow, like this one, and I'll be using my airbrushing tool. No, just a little bit darker, like this one. Yes. And I'm using my airbrushing tool. Then I want to go in with a lighter color and use, yes, my soft airbrush. Now let's start with this color, which, you know, it's kind of like the snow, and then we can use the smudge tool to make it look even. Actually, we want everything a little bit darker here and there. And because it's snowy, let's go to sketching and use the bonobo chalk to give everything some texture so that it doesn't look too weird. Okay, now let's do one more with brighter highlights using the bonobo chalk. Okay, I like it so far, and now what should we do first? Should we work? Okay, let's just add little stars in the sky. Using the luminance brush. Where is it? The light pen. as a luminance color. And with placing of the fairy lights, you don't have to make it, you don't have to follow a line, just add them sporadically. Okay, and maybe I can add a blue one. It kind of looks purple, but okay, that makes it even more unique. Okay, now let's do the same. Actually, I don't like this one. I don't like the purple one, so I'm just gonna remove them. I think that's okay. I'm not sure I like the red ones. Now let's create another layer, go in with this color, make it a little bit smaller, and add little fairy lights. Over on this tree. Okay. And I'm gonna make a really small one here. And maybe I can use the light pen or the flare. And we're just tapping. And let's use the light pen for the little stars here. Perfect. Now, I want to create a new layer, and using my light pen, I want to create some reflections on the snow. Maybe I can make them a little bit darker. No. guys enjoyed it.